All your life, you've been taught to be prim, proper, to just have a morsel, to not be obscene. From now on, it's away with all of that. No more sacrifice, no more apology. You have the right to be shameless. You are an empress, didn't you know? You deserve to relish in luxury and luxuriate in the fruits of your labors. Take a cab for 5 blocks. Buy that bag that's too much. Skip shaving your legs because you aren't any less sexy. Throw a tantrum if you want to. Change the world if you want to. My goddesses, my bad girls, my femme fatales, empresses, all of you empresses. Life is for the ravenous. Go forth and eat the world. This was my first introduction to Beryl Fine, chocolatier, photographer. I've known her for around a year now, and it's people such as Beryl from which Guts and Glory stems. In response to being asked to come on the podcast, I got a swift reply of agreement signed #ExecutiveRealness. And that's Beryl, a statement. In this episode, Beryl opens the door to instinct versus logic, and where her gut has led her. A quick heads up, we're dealing with an overseas conversation here, so the audio may reflect that. Coming to you from Toulouse, France, in New York City. This is Came In Through the Back Door with Beryl Fine.
Testing, guts and glory.
Well, they're gonna come running down the road one day. They're gonna be shouting, hip hip hooray. They'll say the king is gone, the crown is dead. Let's live for truth, let's grow instead of stalling all the time to get bled dry.
To quote one of my favorite groups, Wu-Tang, what song? I'll find the song for you. But it's, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to welcome to you special uninvited guests came in through the back door. Ladies and gentlemen, all the way from the slums of Shaolin, ladies and gentlemen, it's them! And, like, that's how I felt most of my, adult life, is that I've always had to do things through the back door, and part of doing that is following your gut into, like, actually walking through the back door.
Living in the shadows of our crimes, ignoring the monopoly of life.
Hi there, my name is Beryl Fine, and I am headmistress of Haute Chocolate Brooklyn in Brooklyn, New York. I make a handmade dark chocolate that's sweetened with coconut and maple sugars. It's all certified U.S. organic, and it's vegan for anyone who cares. Perhaps people who follow a less conventional path may have this experience more than people who follow convention on a path that's been tread before, because I think it's easier to tread on, a path that's been laid out before you, as opposed to forging, a shortcut, if you will. Right before I moved to New York, I think I was 27. I just turned 27, and I had my first real art show in San Francisco, which is where I used to live. And I'm a photographer, and so they and I know but I'm just for your audience.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it was my first real art show. I'd hung before, but it was group shows, and San Francisco doesn't have a huge scene, so whatever. Anyway, it was at this place called the Medicine Agency, and it was a one-night thing, and I knew that I had a certain amount of money, but I needed, $750 more to do more prints and get frames and, all that shit, and, I'd have money saved, for my trip. But that would have, the $750 at that point would have ate considerably into my saving. I felt, though, the need to do it regardless, not because it was practical, but because I felt like this was an opportunity, at least for me at that point. Let's face it, the Medicine Agency is closed and nothing, they're not a prestigious gallery. However, I printed everything, I hung my work, I did this cool little installation thing, and I just remember sitting there looking at all of it when it was finished, and I'm like, this is make or break. Either I fucking do this shit, I sell out, or that's it, I don't pay rent. And it was really it was a wonderful experience, and I sold doubles and triples of specific prints, and I did sell out of my show, and it was really remarkable because I felt that it was the right thing to do. I felt that if I did not fully immerse myself into the experience of doing something that I could be proud of later, regardless of the outcome, because I felt like, I think that was what I was holding on to, was having the experience of feeling that I did everything I could to project myself, into the, my perception of where I wanted to be, and it was amazing. Like, the dude who owned the gallery, he was like, this is incredible. Like, we've never had a show like this before. This guy, Ron English, was hanging before me there. Like, his show was up before, and then mine followed. And they didn't sell one piece of Ron English, and that motherfucker is amazing, His graphic, I mean, he does art, but, like, I would say his work is very graphic, and, like, I was kind of flattered, like, was Ron English's work a lot more expensive? Absolutely. But it was really a fantastic experience, because not only did I have enough money to pay rent, but I replenished my savings for my trip that was going to be in 2 months. And so, yeah, I, moved to, that was kind of like the beginning of my move to New York. And that also was like a gut experience. So,
yeah, and I feel like you did away with the safety net and fear that for many of us keeps us in our comfort zone and makes us second guess ourselves. You took the stance of living as if you're already leading the life you wanted, and literally referencing back to what you just said, you purposely projected yourself into your perception of where you wanted to be at the time. It's that concept of having the perspective of already being where you want to be in your headspace, as well as trying to bring action-related intentions into the everyday.
It's I have been struggling with this perception most of my life. When you're walking through your day and you're like, I should get on this subway car. No, I should get on this subway car. And, like, you kind of argue with, basic instincts. It's not like these are profound decisions that we're making, but, like, this is another example of... Anyway, I was having this conversation in my head once. I'm like, get on this subway car. No, get on this subway car. And it said I went with my first. I'm like, Beryl, just fucking get on the first subway car. Like, why are you arguing with yourself, proving yourself, trying to, like, say to yourself that, like, this is a better decision when this is just, like, your instinct. So I got on the fucking subway car, and I, like, ran into this woman I hadn't seen since I was, like, 15 years old. And, like, it wasn't, like, an amazing interaction, it wasn't, like, a beautiful, write home about experience. But I did see her, and it was really interesting because I was, like, there's constant instances in my life where I'm, like, constantly trying to prove myself wrong and not follow my gut or my instinct and, like, overthink things, or not even, I don't want to use that word, but, like, as humans, we second guess ourselves regularly. I think that was God's gift to us, right? Or our punishment for making choices, our own choices. I find when I remind myself of that and I follow my gut or my instinct, it's always a rewarding experience. Despite the road that you have to take to get there. It's not that it's paved in gold.
Yeah, no.
But you got some wheat that you gotta, like, use your machete for. I'm personally a fan of Malcolm Gladwell, and he talks about, my favorite book that he did was called Outliers, and it's all about, like, the randos who, like, made it despite, all of the statistics that's stacked against them. Maybe the outliers are the ones that, like, were always on the plane, and managed to, executed it in a part of their lives that managed to shape, I don't know. I'm getting stoned also while we're talking, so forgive me.
All good.
But, yeah, I'm into this idea. I mean, like, this is what Tony Robbins talks about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I mean, he's not an idiot, but I say his name with such disdain, but, like, to keep it real, like, I don't know what Tony Robbins' fucking gut says, but, like, because maybe he doesn't follow his gut at all, maybe, whatever, it's fine, but, it's about actualization, it's about manifesting something and trusting yourself, and not being your worst enemy. When you follow your gut, it's a voice that's inside of you, and it's very quiet. I think that we spend a lot of time talking over what your gut is saying to you. And so it's not about following your first emotion always. It's about listening.
During one of her first video calls, Beryl appeared on camera with a chocolate smear on her forehead. Ever since then, I've had this image in my head, her in her basement, ladle in hand, bent over a cauldron of chocolate concoctions, all of which will be linked in the show notes, FYI. She's a woman in the works, someone I look up to. She also sends me transatlantic packages full of chocolate bars. This was Came In Through the Back Door with Beryl Fine. Share your thoughts and show us some love by subscribing or get in touch to be featured on the podcast. You can find us in iTunes and Stitcher. Today's music by The Hoo-Haws. Released every other Monday. Thanks for lending us an ear. Passing on the mic.